So we're in the business of selling food and beverage, okay? And people come to a restaurant because they want food. But oftentimes menus, they either get fatigued or they get way too big. And what happens when they get really too big, it's very difficult to be an expert in any one item. Plus, it's very difficult to train when you have a menu of 70, 80 items. That means you have to train somebody how to make those 70 or 80 items. Plus, it creates a lot more labor. And then what happens is no item really stands out, okay? So we're a big fan of smaller menus, but make the food not good, but make it great. Make those flavors memorable and craveable. Now, people like to see new items. They want to see menu innovation. And if your menu gets fatigued and the flavors become dull or flat because the consumer has evolved, then what happens is guests go to other places that have more innovative food, more innovative flavors. So part of the menu innovation process is thinking about how do I, without raising prices, how do I get people to spend more money in my restaurant?
Yes.
So by creating new menu items that allow people to trade up to. So I'll give you an example. We have a client down here in Dana Point who has a ribeye on the menu, and it sells very well at about $34, $36, something like that. But he also sells a tremendous amount of expensive wine, $80, $90, $100 bottles of wine. For a really great bottle of wine, you're probably going to pay about $70+ for a good bottle. So he was nervous about the cost of labor or the minimum wage going up and raising prices. And we said to him, don't raise prices. Let's do this. Let's change the menu mix and let's get people to spend more money. Okay? So we put a prime ribeye on the menu. So we went from a choice to a prime. We went from about $36 to I think maybe $48 or $46, $10 more.
Yeah.
It only cost us $2 more. Okay? So we had a net of $8 more.
Yes.
So by changing the menu mix, we're able to change our margins and also drive more top-line sales. And by doing that, plus three other big ideas, we were able to get him a $4.23 increase in check average per person, which is huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So menu innovation, there's a lot of ways to think about it, whether it be re-engineering your current menu so it's more innovative, copies more innovative. It gets people to say, wow, that sounds pretty darn delicious.
Yep.
I think I'm going to order that. That's different.
Yeah, it's a simple thing of just giving somebody the choice. Every once in a while, you're going to have that big spender come in and give them that choice. If they want to get the next best thing, give them that option. At least put the option out there. What about also just like giving the option of extra meat? I think that's something that comes up where you have your standard sandwich, but for $3 more, you can get extra meat. But is that something that you'd recommend? Like giving the options?
I think that really kind of appeals more towards a
fast casual or something like that,
or to somebody that's like a bodybuilder or something like that. Whereas what we do is we recommend that you make all of your salads, we call them naked, no protein, and price them right because there's a lot of vegans, a lot of vegetarians. They don't want the chicken, so how do you deal with that? And then you give them the option to add on. So like this afternoon before having our meeting, I had lunch at North Italia with my business partner and a colleague. I had a salad, and then I just added on, roast chicken. I could have had it without the chicken, but I wanted it with. So I took it. I was in charge of my destiny.
Yeah.
I decided how much I wanted to spend.
And how we speak to people has a big impact on this. Don't just assume don't assume that they only want the salad. Say, which protein do you want on that? Don't even give. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of drive-thrus do this really well. There's I think which one is it? It's Starbucks does something along the lines of they know you're going to get a drink, and what are you eating with that? And they always ask that question because they know they have an opportunity to upsell. And sometimes people aren't going in with the idea that they're going to get food, but when given the option, they're going to increase their odds of increasing that check average, right?
Yeah. The other thing that's kind of interesting is how how iPads and Android type tablets are impacting the whole menu selection process. Some operators are choosing to put their menu on an iPad. Okay, whether you order off the iPad or not, it allows you to show a photograph of that item, maybe with a wine pairing. Tells you a little bit about the history of that item, where it might have come from. People like to see photos.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the reality. It's we eat with our eyes.
Yeah.
So if you're able to take a take an iPad, whether you tether it to the table or not, and just give them the iPad. A lot of people know certain wines by the label. They don't necessarily remember the name of the wine, but they remember the label. So if you're able to take a picture of the wine list, have the label, the year, a little bit about the story about it, I think it's a great tool from a menu innovation standpoint
Yep.
to be able to communicate your message.
Again, goes back, ties a little bit into that experience. It's a unique selling proposition for those who want a different experience.
Yes.
I think one company that I know is doing that really well is Menuvative. Is there another one that you can recommend if anybody's interested in that?
Well, I think Stax is a small regional restaurant chain that has a menu that shows all the pictures, and I think you can order off of the iPad. Like Fleming's for years has had a digital wine list,
Yeah.
which is really very nice.
That's cool.
And there's another chain that escapes me right now, but that's the trend.
Mhm.
You know, that and being able to order off of like in fast casual. These digital menu boards that are like kiosk driven, where you can kind of build your own burger, you
Yep.
build your own bowl. You want to add chicken, you could add chicken. It gives you the option to spend more money.
Mhm.
And what we're finding is that these digital kiosks operators are getting anywhere from a 16 to 20% increase in check average because people they don't either feel intimidated or they don't feel embarrassed when they go to the counter to pick up their food and it has a churro in it or it has double cheese on it. You know
Yeah,
what I
'cause
mean?
it's secret.
It's personal. You know, there's no judgment.
Yeah, I like that. And one other thing, while we're on this topic of tablets that I've seen, because it's fresh, Mendocino Farms is a company that's doing this.
Yep.
They have somebody standing at the front door.
Yep.
And they take your order as soon as you walk in. I think that's so powerful to have somebody there with a smile greet you, and I think just moving that point of sale to as close to the front door, so the touch point is instant, is really interesting. I'm curious to see how many other people adopt this practice.
Well, I think one of the reasons why they do that because they recognize that the lion's share of their business is lunch.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said earlier that lunch is all about speed, value, and convenience. So if you can't get people in the door and get their sandwiches made in an expeditious way, you're not going to capture that lunch business.
Okay.
So that kiosk really helps facilitate that process.